All right. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Carol Dockum, CEO and founder of Beautiful Faces Going Places Women's Success Network. And I'm so excited as we are here today for Empower Hour. So you might be asking, what is Empower Hour? Empower Hour is a new program that we're hosting here. It's a once a month event. It's dedicated to helping small business owners, entrepreneurs, and solopreneurs to leverage technology and access the latest in business insights to up-level in business. You don't know what you don't know, right? So this is an interactive Empower Hour where we bring experts. We select a topic that is relevant and important to entrepreneurs, small business owners. So we bring the experts to the table. We've got a great topic today, which is you are your business and your brand wherever you go. And this subject is dear and near to my heart because I truly believe that it is. And so we've got a phenomenal panel of experts here today that are going to join us and share their insights, their brilliance on this topic. And then afterwards, we will open up the floor and have a great Q&A question. So as you're listening to Deborah, Ashley, and Chris, think about what you would like to ask them. And then we will open up the floor afterwards. So next, I'd like to introduce our speaker panelists. First off, we have Chris Dyer of Chris Dyer Consulting. Chris is a multi-passionate co-creator, collaborator, and connector. She is a personal and business leader expert with over 30 plus years of combined education, experience in healthcare, clinical education, sales, personal fitness, and wellness training. She is the founder and CEO of 3 different startups, Chris Dyer Consulting, Positively Panache, and Embellished Butterfly. She loves to show creative entrepreneurs how to start and scale their businesses to 6 figures and beyond. So please help me welcome Chris Dyer. Hi there, Chris. Thanks for joining us today. Second, I'd like to introduce Ashley Rhoda. She is a branding strategist. And she's the CEO and founder of Iconic Details, which is a distinguished branding studio that supports clients as they navigate to their next level of success with perspective, organization, and intoxicating clarity. A sanctuary for iconic identities to be refined, to be infused and honored over time. Many people may associate branding with logos, websites, colors, and fonts, your business cards, all of those intangibles. But for Ashley, branding is something to be, not something to do. So I cannot wait for her to share her insights. And lastly, we have the fabulous Deborah Fawaz of DD Faces. Deborah is a corporate image consultant, a wardrobe stylist, makeup artist. Business people hire her to reveal their bold, brilliant personal style that makes a lasting statement. Deborah loves to not only work with one-to-one clients as a personal stylist and image consultant, but she also teaches and facilitates workshops and gives speaking presentations on color, personal style, first impressions, dressing, makeup techniques, and just an overall polished grooming so that you can show up confidently you. Yeah, that is all about image and branding, right? And you never get a second chance to make a first great impression. So please help me welcome Chris, Deborah, and Ashley to our Empower Hour. And our topic today is all about you are your business and your brand wherever you go. So let's kick it off here with Ashley. Ashley, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Iconic Details and your passion for helping your clients really create that impactful, memorable brand, which is all about being. So I'm going to pass the mic over to you, Ashley.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So hello, everyone. It's good to see you. I take a unique approach into branding, as Carol introduced me and said it already, but I believe that branding is something to be, not something to do. We're often associating it with the logos, the business card and website. We're like, I've got it, now I'm branded, let's go. And I went as far, I even tattooed my logo. So there's a level of branding I'm committed to, but I really do. I believe that it's something that it's more of a lifestyle, because when we really get down to the detail, it's these moments that we're being conscious, intentional, and symbolic that really create these iconic details that others pick up on, right? So I'm going to just shout out to Miss Chris Dyer. Look at her beautiful hair with the blue in it. Like, that's a conscious, intentional, and symbolic moment that we're all like, I want to know more, right? And so I just love helping people see that it's more than just those basic elements and really tapping in. So with my company, Iconic Details, I named it that way for a reason, Iconic Details. I'm really looking at kind of 4 elements. So what was happening is, in the conversations that I was having with each of you, no matter what we were talking about, it came back to like one of 4 things. We were either needing to review something, we needed to strategize about your brand. Maybe it was the design. So maybe it is like, for our graphic designers in the room and our creatives in the room, maybe it is the design and overall aesthetic, or it became something new in creative direction and talking about business acquisition, whether we're buying it, whether we're selling it, whether we're creating a franchise for someone. There was a big conversation that needed to happen around that. So when I look at brands, I'm kind of hearing for, do we need to review something, strategize something, design something, or just direct something? So it's kind of simple at the end of the day, but I do find that the branding process is insanely complicated. Cart before the horse is a valid issue, you're going to your website, yet you have no photography yet, kind of an issue. And just putting all the pieces in not linear order, but somewhat of a now, next, later plan. So thanks.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how you said, I think branding doesn't have to be insanely complicated, right? And I think we all start with our logos, our colors, our fonts, our website, and then we launch it. And then it's like crickets, right? And then you're wondering, okay, now what, what's next? So, and I love just the overall essence of you are your brand, right? It's a way of being, it's a lifestyle versus simply your colors, your fonts, and your logos and your websites.
Definitely.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. I would like to have Deborah Fawaz of DD Faces tell us a little bit more about what you do, how you help your clients, and your insights, your brilliance on branding. And you are your brand and your business wherever you go.
Thanks, Carol. Ashley, first, I wanted to respond to something you said. I had a business coach approach me at a networking meeting, and she said, Deborah, you're a good speaker. You need to write a talk about how to be your brand. And I said, okay, yeah. And I went out to my car and said, what the hell does that mean? Because I didn't get it. So I was that person that did things backwards initially, figured out my colors, my brand, interviewed web developers. And then when people would say to me like, well, what's your mission? What's your vision? Talk about crickets. I didn't even know what the question meant. So I was just had something I wanted to do. But I don't think I even I know I didn't fully develop. Why was it so important to me to do this? I had a little bit of a story, but I really didn't dig into that. So I really appreciate your point of view and what you said about that. So going forward from that, I forgot what I was going to say. Hang on. I had a business coach not say to me, but I heard her say it to a group once. She said, Your brand isn't your logo, all those printed things. Your brand is how you leave people feeling after they're in your presence. Now, I'm not sure she made that up. That might be a quote from someone famous, so I don't want to misrepresent that. But that was really interesting to me, and it helped me further develop my program for my clients, how you leave people feeling. So with that in mind, Carol asked me to give you 3 quick little tips about doing that. You know, once we started doing all these things online, it was very exciting and it wasn't that hard to learn. I'm not sure we've all learned about our presence online, but we know how to save the chat, turn the camera on and off, right? All that stuff. That wasn't hard. But it immediately became a busy, crowded, competitive marketplace. So the good news is, wow, I'm meeting people across the nation and the world. But the challenge is, but exponentially, my competition just boop, right? So if you've heard me talk before, you know, I talk about how do you stand out? How do you stand out in a good way? Not the way like the lady on Zoom that took her laptop into the bathroom with her, not that way. But how do you stand out in a busy, crowded marketplace? And so my first tip is just that, stand out, be memorable. What does that mean? Maybe it's your smile. You know, think in your head, who's somebody that you know that they're always smiling? They enter the room smiling, their picture comes up on the screen. They're smiling, they just always seem to be joyful. Maybe that's your signature look. I'm just not going to talk today about hair and makeup or the brand of your clothes. Who cares? I don't even care about that. I'm not about that kind of branding. So your signature look might be your lip color. I'm kind of guessing that Ashley wears that bold lip a lot. And if she came to the meeting in a neutral lip gloss, we'd probably be like, maybe she doesn't feel good today. Like, you might not know what's off, but that could be your signature look. It doesn't have to be anything really expensive or complicated. What about Dr. Burks from, you know, the COVID team in Washington? What's her signature? The scarf, right? The scarf. I've never seen that woman without a scarf on. And if I did, I'd probably think, oh no, it fell off when she stepped out of the car. That's her signature look. That makes her memorable, but it doesn't have to be something on the exterior. It could be how you leave people feeling. If you don't have a signature look and you want one, some easy things to do. Maybe you're somebody that dresses a lot in darker shades of clothing and you prefer solids, not prints. Let's do something simple. Let's pick out what kind of handbag you like. Do you like a big bucket bag because you carry everything with you? Are you a minimalist? Would you go for a crossbody bag, just something that fit your phone and your car key in? And then let's buy you some of those in some brilliant colors like fuchsia or royal blue or something patent leather. And then here's what I'm saying, never take it off. Okay, you can take it off when you get in the shower, but when you go to that event, leave it on. If the most fascinating thing about you that day is your handbag, don't go put it on your seat to reserve your seat. It's a conversation starter. And especially for those of you that identify with introverts, then you want to wear a really fun pair of earrings that you bought when you went to a festival in San Francisco, not your silver hoops from Macy's, because nobody's going to comment about that. But somebody else might start the conversation for you. You will then become memorable, and they'll remember that Jane loves to go to art festivals when she travels, and she always brings something home personal as her souvenir. And the next time you see her, you're going to say that, Have you traveled yet this year? Where'd you go this year? And she's going to feel valued, remembered, important, listened to, all those things. All right, so number one, stand out. Number two, I kind of alluded to this already. Be a good listener. Have you ever met somebody and you say, hey, Catherine, what do you do? And they go, they pretty much regurgitate their entire business plan, how they do it, why they could help you, even maybe what their pricing is. You weren't really looking for that. And so what's left? First of all, that person totally monopolized the opportunity to just have a quick little touch base, whether you're in a meeting like this or in person or at a women's conference and it's the bathroom break, any of those situations apply. So be a good listener. And one of the ways to do that is to take some time to prepare some questions, and maybe you keep them on an index card and you put them in your car or you put them in your purse. So when you have a couple seconds, you can kind of memorize them. And then it'll just become a little more natural for you if it doesn't feel natural at the beginning. But you don't want to ask questions that have a yes or no answer, because then it's the dead end, right? Okay, so let me just give you an example of a couple questions, which I'm going to have to read because I can't see today. And by the way, the three things we're never supposed to talk about in business: sex, politics, and religion. Well, I add three more to the list: traffic, sports, and the weather. Who cares? How does that make you memorable? I mean, it's comfortable to start a conversation that way if we live in the same city, right? Because it's all familiar information. But I'm not going to leave a luncheon where I talked to Callie and she talked about the traffic the whole time and go to my car and say, wow, I'm going to write this on Callie's business card. She's so fascinating. She hates the traffic. It doesn't make you memorable. I know it's human and it's comfortable and it's natural. But what if you were the person that asked some really interesting questions and became the good listener? And how does that make the other person feel about you and your brand? So here's a couple examples. Where's the most fascinating place you've ever been? Or or if they say, I've never left the United States, well, where do you dream about going? And sometimes that kind of just comes up naturally, through a conversation, especially in travel time in the summer. So you can just jump into that. Or what do you like best about this, whatever? What do you like best about this chamber? What do you feel like you take away from this networking luncheon? What do you like best about, wherever you are, fill in the blank. What gives you the most joy in your business? That'll really tell you something about somebody. And then they get to talk about their business, but they're not just telling you, pardon me, their business card line, right? And here's another one. Where do you find your clients? I like this one because it opens up to get to the next conversation. Like then I might say, that's really fascinating. All your clients are referral. I'm trying to develop a referral program. Would you have coffee with me and share about your program? Does that make sense? All right. And the third tip is be ready. Be ready wherever you go. Be ready to talk to people. Now, you don't have to be ready like, dressed to the nines. I've kind of shot myself in the foot after I developed this company 8 years ago because I cannot go to the grocery store anymore. It's a hot mess. Okay. I don't look like this when I go to the grocery store, but if I have my hat and my ponytail on, I'm going to have on my CC cream, a little lip gloss, and I'm going to have good posture and have my smile on, because who knows who could be standing in the line with me. You just never know where you could find your next client or collaborator or a referral to a speaking engagement. So be ready. I'm going to tell one more little story and then I'm out. I was interviewing for a virtual assistant. And so I did those initial conversations on the phone. This was before Zoom, was the thing. And I narrowed it down to 2 women. And so I made appointments with them at Panera Bread. I don't know. Do you guys have that in Ohio? It's a coffee shop and a bakery. Okay. And so I got there a few minutes early because I don't like to be flustered, and I want to kind of be calm and settle in and find the bathroom and all that stuff. And she texted me and said, I'm on the way, but I'm running a few minutes late. So she did come through the door flustered. That's not a good look on anybody. She was wearing a solid black t-shirt and black pants and a pair of black Crocs. And so, yes, this is judgy, but my first impression was you look like you're ready to go walk the dog, not to have a job interview. And I considered that a job interview. And she had already met all the little as far as her ability to be my VA, okay? And did I say she had dog hair all over? And then she said, I have to go to the bathroom. I'll come right back. And no problem. And when she walked away, it was clear she still had bedhead. She hadn't even combed the back of her head with a brush. And I'm going to tell you that interview was almost over for me immediately. And here's why. What level of effort did she put into showing up? It didn't appear to be much. I'm not talking about meeting your girlfriend for coffee or walking in the neighborhood with a neighbor. This was a job interview. And so as the employer, my brain says, what level of effort are you going to give me? Are the projects going to come in late? Are they going to be sloppy? And so you have to think about that. What is the level of effort that you show the world that you made to be there? It's not about how pretty you are or how trendy your clothes are or how much money you have. It's not about that. Just make an effort, be a really good listener, and stand out from the crowd. Thanks, Carol.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Deborah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The description and the experience that you had interviewing for a VA, those were unspoken words, right? Just by showing up late, not being prepared, and that all created an experience, an impression, a lasting impression. So thank you so much for sharing your 3 tips on standing out, being a good listener, and be ready wherever you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We are now going to pass the mic over to Chris Dyer. And Chris, I am so excited to have you here joining in on the conversation here, because you are a success coach. You are a creative and a creative designer and collaborator. And I love how you really, truly power up with your partners and truly connect. You are a master connector and creative. So I am now going to pass the mic over to you. I know you're also passionate about this subject matter. You are your brand and your business wherever you go.
Thank you, Carol. And so I'm going to bring it kind of like full circle, because I wrote down some notes, even when you were introducing Ashley and Deborah, and just being able to tie it into this conversation. So thank you for letting me kind of pull it all together. And then it's going to be pretty fascinating when the other attendees here can, start asking questions. But you mentioned with Ashley's introduction, finesse. And then with Deborah's, you mentioned polish. And those are all attributes that we all aspire to be and who we embody in our essence, right? I'm very intentional with my language. And as we do the work on ourselves, it doesn't matter where we are in our journey. As I would say, most of us are women. There might be a gentleman in the room. It doesn't matter what your gender, your identity, what role you are. Every day we're showing up. we're becoming a better version of ourselves, who we are in our journey. We all might have different journeys, and it's all very personal and unique in who we are and how we show up in our business, in our relationships, in our lives. But being very intentional with doing the work every day, doing the work behind the curtains. There's so much noise, and there's, that with such a strong visual presence with social media, there's a lot of focus on what we're doing. Doing this, doing that, whatever. Oh, look what she did. Oh, she must be so busy. Look at all the things she's doing. It's like, yes, we're doing a lot of things, but what I am very intentional on, and what I've been really diligently working on and showing up, and how I'm empowering other people to step into their power and boldness and confidence, is what we're doing behind the scenes, behind the curtain. It's the work that we're doing that everybody isn't seeing that really is creating that massive impact. And so when we talk about branding, yes, I've done workshops and courses. There are coaches out there that help with the external, the doing, and how we're showing up in person. But I'm more focused and intentional on how we're being, right? It's that essence, it's that person that we're embodying. It's living in our values, knowing our truth. And for some of us, we've been carrying around identities and roles for years, in programming and paradigms that were handed to us from the day we were born, generational things, whatever, what have you, and even different occupational roles we've picked up along the way. And if you've ever been a mother, there's even those roles and identities. And when we do the work behind the scenes and just focus on what we can do to show up, stand in our power, it's like a muscle. And yes, I do come from a health and wellness and fitness coaching. And it's really interesting. So Deborah mentioned, wear that scarf all the time, wear your brand all the time. Well, when I added the teal hair, to me, that was just like, I want to be fun, right? I want to exude a higher energy and more fun. And people say, well, they look like feathers, or you look like you're wearing your butterfly wings. Well, you know what? All of that's pretty much part of what I embody when I enter a room. That I want to be light, that I want to be open and transparent and authentic and congruent with all the things, and living in a spirit of increase. And when I connect with other people, I leave them with a spirit of increase.
I love that.
Right? And there's an old Jackson Brown. It's been in 8 different houses in all the places that I've lived in my adult life. It's a quote, and one of the quotes, has probably 15 quotes on this one, plaque in my house. It's always leaving someplace better than the way you found it, right? And it could be your physical space. It could be the space, the energetic space when you interact with another human being. Always leave in the spirit of increase, leave something better than the way you found it, right? It's not bringing your dirty laundry. It's not bringing that negative energy. It's not bringing that complaint. It's helping the other person to see the good in them in a better way, a compliment, a way for them to see a different perspective around their life or circumstance that they maybe hadn't realized before. That is something that I'm very much intentional on, and that's people who know me know that's what I'm known for, and that is part of my brand. So not only are we building a brand, we're building a culture of inclusivity, equity, diversity. Those are all very important key terms that are even really just being spoken about in the last 3 to 5 years. But those are all characteristics of me and my person that I've embodied and have really strongly developed in the last several years. And then, so it doesn't really matter what I'm doing on the outside. Yes, I have products. Yes, I have services. Those are things that I'm doing. But what I'm being is really showing up as my best self so that I can help encourage others to show up in their best self, develop that level of confidence, really start to do the digging and the soul searching and develop that trusting and knowing yourself. Because most of us, particularly as women, I've already mentioned it, there's a lot of heavy stuff that we hold on to that makes us weighed down. And it's not allowing us to be confident. It's not allowing us to build those skills to be bold and to step out. And maybe we think we're introverted, but really it's like, no, there's that there's that light inside that's screaming to get out. It's like, and that's part of my healing journey. And so that is my desire, because I have done the healing, is to help others heal in their path so they can show up. But just being, and we talked about in that spirit of increase also is the energetic footprint. Okay, there's a digital footprint of how we show up and conduct ourselves online, the things that we don't talk about, that Deborah mentioned. There's a time and a place for that. And it's not when you're in the public eye. It's not on social media, because when you put it out there, it's there forever. And how do you want to be remembered? Because people are paying attention whether or not you feel like they are or not. And this is something that I realized early on. When I become more active in social media, I would get a little puzzled or not really understood how social media actually worked. You know, you would show up, nobody would comment, nobody would engage with you. But what I realized is like, you know what, people are busy, people are paying attention, you just don't know it, right? And so I'm very, very intentional of making sure that I show up with the best energy, that I'm leaving behind something that's encouraging or positive, that's maybe going to help somebody get through their day. It's an energetic smile, if you will, or that footprint, because people will remember the good, and then we'll also remember where we could have done a better job, where you've left that about being gracious and graceful. Because when you are not gracious, when you show your displeasure in public and not at a favorable light that demeans or diminishes another person, people are going to remember that. And so always being very intentional on how you leave a space in that spirit of increase. Being prepared, absolutely. Every day you show up, it's like you're showing up for practice. And there's a great book, and I love to drop books that I've read, and it's Bo Eason, There's No Plan B for Your A Game. Okay, and so he talks about showing up for practice. It's like we're not showing up to play the Super Bowl every day. However, every day we're showing up for practice. It's that training, it's that knowing, it's that polishing, it's that refining that's helping us get better for that day when we are playing the Super Bowl, right? And so when you show up for practice, you're developing that skill set, that confidence, that mindset, that resiliency and resourcefulness that just gets stronger every time you show up. And it, so that you are ready, right? When you have increased your capacity, when you have gone to the gym and you've lifted that 5-pound weight, and it's like, oh, wait, this is really easy. I'm ready for the next challenge. Let me try and pick up that 7.5 or 10-pound weight, right? And then you gradually acclimate, you grow into the next best version of yourself every time you show up for practice, right? That's, you know, getting on and doing your lives. It's getting on and doing your reels. It's getting on and just practice. Maybe you're putting out a positive affirmation out online every day. It's getting you in that habit of being consistent. And the more consistent we are, obviously we know that's where the success comes from. And there's room to be expansive. And I kind of think of it like an amoeba, because I'm a little bit of a nerd, but we're always expanding, contracting, and growing, and hopefully we're just grow. And you know, I'm losing my train of thought here because I'm always in expansion mode. But we're preparing ourselves for the big picture, the big game, right? We're preparing for our own personal World Series, our own personal Super Bowl. You know, the products might be the peanuts and the popcorn or the Coca-Cola, right? But every time you show up, you're slowly filling your stands into your stadium, right? These are the people energetically that are drawn to you. They're supporting you. They're helping you play in your game. Maybe they're actually your collaborators and partners on the field playing this game with you. And you know what? When we all play together, everybody wins. We want everybody to go to the Super Bowl or the World Series together. And so every time you show up, you're putting all these things out into the universe, and they're all being attracted to you when you show up consistently in the best light, in the spirit of increasing everybody in that experience. I mean, it truly is a life experience. But the consistency, the follow through, being super intentional. And I like to use I think we're losing people here, hopefully, hopefully not too much, but I love to live within a term called epic. Being epic, being in your integrity, being authentic. Epic is an acronym of being effective, being passionate, intentional, and committed. And as a business owner and an entrepreneur, you have to be all of those things to visualize and realize that success later on. But when you're successful, everybody that plays in that game with you becomes successful also, just by the nature of that energetic exchange and that footprint. But I'm gonna zip it up there, and I would love to open it up for more questions. And I know, Carol, you're excited because I know you love it when I drop bombs like that.
I do.
I'm excited.
That was amazing. Yeah, absolutely. I love what you said. You're always leaving something better than the way that you found it. Really, and just showing up, living in, with your values, your core values and integrity. And based on what you shared with us, I feel like it really is all about creating an experience. It's about how the impact that you leave with others when they're in your presence. And I'm trying to think of a quote, and I might have it. Yes, I do. I have it in my office. It's by Maya Angelou. I have it framed on the wall. At the end of the day, people won't remember what you said or did. They will remember how you made them feel. For me, that is the way you just wrapped up all of this. I just feel like that is so true. So branding is more than fonts, colors, your website, your brand. You are your brand. And I know, Ashley, you live and breathe this as well. And so do you, Deborah and Chris. This was an amazing topic. And thank you for sharing your passion and your insights. And now I'm going to open it up for just some Q&A and conversation. We have Ashley and Deborah and Chris here, and this is all about empowering each and every one of you to be the best version of yourself, to get up, dress up, show up, and be your brand wherever you go. It's as Ashley mentioned, it's a lifestyle, it's a way of being, and this is just amazing. So I'm going to open up the floor. And let's see here.
And I want the juicy questions, not the easy ones. I want like the hard ones. So like challenge us. Okay, it looks like Martina has one. I think you can unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'm posing this question to both ladies because I feel like very similar stuff going on here. I know it's important to look your best and come as your best and show yourself as professional, but as well as what's going on the outside, would you say?
Did she freeze for anybody else? Is she just giving way too much energy?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give it back to her. Take it back. Zoom, give her back right now. Sometimes if you yell at Zoom, it will happen, but okay. Maybe we can message her in the chat and just inform her that she has frozen out of sharing so much power, and she can type her question in. Mercury retrograde, anybody? It's coming, y'all. On May 10th, we start one. So heads up for that fun. All right. Oh, perfect. Okay, so she'll hop back in here. I saw another question. Deborah, did you have a question?
No, I had a question for Ashley and Chris. It probably sounds kind of superficial, but it was a bit of a challenge for me. I've had 2 clients that after working with their marketing person, they both felt like they could only wear the colors of their brand everywhere they went. And I have an opinion about that, but let's say if your brand colors are black, gray, and red, that is all they would ever wear in public. Comments?
Chris, I have so much to say. So Chris, I will let you.
Yeah, that's really a hardcore, literal, that's restrictive.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Nobody wants to be in a box.
Yeah. And our brand is so much more than a shirt or a blouse or a skirt that we're wearing.
Yeah.
It's more about what's in here. That's the brand. I mean, the clothing it's fun. That's what attracts people, excuse me, who don't maybe know you, like, oh, you're the woman with the blue hair.
Right.
And then that incites the conversation. But whenever I'm connecting with somebody, I've become very intentional about that, because I have taken a lot of time to study my own activations or triggers. Like if somebody comes at me with an energy that just doesn't feel really congruent, it sparks a question. It's like, oh, there's something about that person that I need to investigate more so I can understand. And so I will actually look beyond that facade that they're coming at me with, whether it's their business or an attitude, and I'll start asking them questions about themselves, right? I want to get to the person behind the facade of whatever it is they're looking like physically. This also helps when we're making snap judgments and comparisons about people. It's like, well, they're human underneath that, right? I mean, when we take the outer skin off of our human bodies, because I have X-ray vision, I'm not lying. That's actually part of my background. I'm an X-ray tech, so I know what the human body looks like. When you remove that exterior, we're all walking, talking, and we look the same when you take off the exterior. So when you can actually see through the facade of somebody's projecting a lack of confidence, or they just have this huge ego, there's something there to study and learn more about. And that really opens up a door. It's like, ooh, tell me more. And for somebody who's very rigid, they are living because somebody told them what to think, not how to think, right? And I think a lot of people get triggered by different influences, and there's a lot of coaches and there's a lot of noise, and people are being told what to think.
I want to leverage off of that because I personally bring a unique approach. I find that branding kind of has two facets. There's one that's applied and one that's identified. And what you're saying is an applied brand. Someone gave them colors and applied it to them. And it's like this ooey gooey mess on them and they can't quite like maintain it, right? And then there's identified branding, which is, you said a marketer, which I also want to address because a marketer should not be giving out colors, but details, is that someone is looking within them to identify the details that make them iconic naturally, as Chris was saying, and pulling that out. And they're leading with their identity in the branding. And that is expansive. That puts you in your essence. That makes you seen and noticed. And so I think when people are told these, strict color palettes, there's a couple of things. So for someone that has that, there is brand recognition that you do need to train yourself and your audience keys to look for, or signature details to look for and associate. When they see something, they're like, oh my God, that's that person, right? So I trained my audience for a very long time with black and gold. And so I'm very blessed that now I get lots of gifts because anytime someone sees black and gold, they send it to me and I'm like, oh, thank you so much. So if you do it right, you're not going to hate it. But I will say, if you're locked in with this like preset color palette, carry it in ways that maybe it's not just the clothes. Like I can only wear gray, black, and red, I believe is what you said. Take it into your belongings. Like you were talking about carrying a purse. You were talking about other details that maybe it's in your phone case, that every time you show up and you put your phone down, like your branding is there. You can always have it on you and live with it, but I don't think you have to change your entire wardrobe about it. There is a point when it becomes identified and you can build out those assets and elements that way. But no, that is a core set of a marketer who shouldn't be doing that. Like marketing is megaphone to branding. They're about getting the message out. They're about getting your voice and people and in the room. And it's about the communication behind and distribution behind the business. Branding is the identity of it. That's the difference.
Which is way more than colors.
Yeah. And so a marketer throwing out colors, like, let's go have like a paintball fight if we want to. Like, bring it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for answering that for me. Yeah. I had a really strong opinion and reaction to that, but I'm not a branding expert. So
You are in your own right. You play with the ABCs, appearance, behavior, and communication. So own it. And then if you don't know, call me and I'll back you up, tell you what to say, and then you can tell them. Okay.
Well, it looks like
Barbara.
Thank you.
Okay. This might seem like an odd question, but, and I'm addressing this to Ashley and Chris, only because I see you're wearing glasses. I have had coaching on lighting for doing Zoom, and I do a lot of Zoom appointments, but for the life of me, cannot manage to not have glare on my glasses. And I'm looking at both of you and I saw no glare. So is it a particular type of lens in your glasses or something special you're doing? Because I can turn all the lights off and I still get it because it's the light coming off of the laptop.
Yeah. There might be a couple of things at play. Number one is you can turn down the brightness of your screen. So just don't have it as bright as it can possibly be. Like, let's see if I can test it right now. Okay. This is how bright my screen is. Can you see it in my glasses now?
No.
This is like, no one gets this close, right? Shoot. Anyways, but as soon as I start pulling it down, see how the glare goes away in my glasses?
Okay.
See that?
Yeah, I was told to put it up as bright as possible.
Okay, well, let's move on from that person and pull it down.
Yeah.
The second thing is watch your lighting. So I have a huge window right here, like huge, and I have it currently closed with my other windows open. So I'm blocking the lights that don't work for me, basically. But if I wanted to glare, I could turn it on. Yeah.
Could you go to speaker view, please?
Good. There.
There's no glare at all.
Carol did it.
I even thought, does she really have glass in there? Because I can't even tell.
Is here.
And see what mine is, people can't even see my eyes because the glare is so bad.
So let me ask you too, do you have the blue tinting in your glasses for computers?
No, they're
Oh,
clear.
yeah. Maybe there's a film, I don't know. All my glasses are, so I am blind as a bat, let's be honest. So all my glasses are glare resistant. Everything that they give you at the ophthalmologist, I take, like, you know, the night driving, the computer glare, all the things. But I do have another pair that will give you some glare, and they are Blu-ray vision. So these are my work glasses. If I put these on, you can see the blue tint in it. And sometimes that happens. I have blue eyes, so sometimes I use it to my advantage and make it seem like a Medusa and glow with things. But like, do you? Like, I mean, so what? Your eyes are glowing. Great.
Barbara, I have one more tip for you.
Yes.
If it doesn't work for everybody, but instead of having your glasses being straight on behind your ears, tilt them a little. So now this is above my ears. They're not resting on my ears, and the bottom of my glasses is on my cheekbone.
Is that better?
Well, it works for me,
Okay.
But if
It
you have a
doesn't work for
bifocal, that
everybody.
might really mess with you all day long. Do you have
Right.
bifocal lenses?
I do.
Right.
Yeah, that's gonna mess with
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Not so bad just on a Zoom like this. It
Yeah.
would be more if I'm reading or something,
Okay.
but yeah, I've been fighting this thing and nobody's been able to tell me how to get rid of it.
You may also go to Geek Squad. They may be able to put a filter onto your computer screen and be able to block some of that light too. And Geek Squad, I mean Best Buy, the Geek Squad, the little dudes in the back, or me at the back. Like someday I really want to be on the Geek Squad team. I'm just telling you, I love tech. And they may be able to give you like something for your screen to help with that.
Okay.
But I think lens also come in glare and non-glare. So I think what you ought to do is to start with that. Go back to where you got your glasses.
Yeah.
And
No,
say,
they
"Come
did
in
ask me if I
glare."
wanted an anti-glare lens and I
Mhm.
said that's what I wanted. But I didn't know whether that was more for me seeing through than it was for outside.
Oh, and you have non-glare lens?
Yes. Mhm.
Oh.
So two
And
things,
are you
Barbara.
looking- Are
Yes.
you looking into a lamp? Are you looking into a lamp?
No,
Just your computer screen.
no, just my, it's the
And her
computer,
glasses.
it's the light off the screen that's doing it.
Mm.
I would experiment with a brighter light in your room overhead.
That too.
And I don't know if you're on a laptop or a desktop, but actually raising up your laptop and maybe adjusting the angle.
Yeah,
Because,
I was taught to angle it down a little bit.
yeah,
And I'm doing that, but maybe it could be up higher.
Oh. Who
Well,
else has
thank
a
you so much.
question?
Those were fantastic, fantastic tips on the glare for our glassware. We are getting ready to wrap up our Empower Hour, and I just want to say thank you so much to Ashley, Deborah, and Chris for sharing their brilliance and insights on you are your brand wherever you go, you are your business wherever you go. Does anyone have any closing remarks? I know Jen and Jane and Dee, I want to say thank you for joining us, and Barbara, before we wrap up here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been good.
Awesome. All right, go ahead, Jane.
Oh, I enjoyed it very much, and thank you. It is all about what's on the inside.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for Empower Hour. We are going to log off here. As we mentioned earlier, we go live for Empower Hours once a month. We also have virtual online networking events. We have lunch and learn networking events and all kinds of goodness, webinars, summits, all kinds of goodness online. You can visit us at beautifulfacesgoingplaces.com. Thank you so much. And remember, you are your brand wherever you go. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.